in 1998. I've been doing mobile ever since. I've got about 35 years in my business. And the last time I did the presentation, that was kind of fun. I gave you guys some information. And this time I want to give you a little bit of information. And I'm going to shut up. And I'm going to let my posse speak for me. So I want to talk to you first about a term that I'm going to familiarize you with. It's called stoichiometric fuel economy. It's the industry's term for the most and the best fuel mileage possible. The computer systems that are on the vehicles nowadays have been programmed to, at any range of your throttle, wherever you are with your foot, to give you the maximum fuel economy. So it's 1 part fuel, 1 part air. 14.7% atmospheric pressure, wherever you are at sea level, to the equivalent in the other part to be the most efficient. Now, I'm sure everybody sees this individual on the road, and I don't want to use the term that most people call him or her, they pass you doing about 60 miles an hour in a 40-mile-an-hour speed zone, and you catch up to them at the next light. And then that light turns green, and they take off like there's a fire, and you catch up to them at the next light. So the industry decided that we're going to see if we can help the fuel economy on individuals like that. So the best way that you can, in your own vehicle, the best fuel economy that you can get is just drive it normal. Drive it like I drive like a little old lady, unless I'm late to a B&I meeting, to get the most and best fuel economy out of it. Another good way to get the best fuel economy out of your vehicle is to make sure that you've got the proper air pressure. And if you want, you can even up it to the maximum pressure that your tire is rated at. It'll get you the best fuel economy. The manufacturer rates vehicles at in-city and then highway rate. And I've actually, with the newer vehicles that I've purchased and vehicles I've had in the past, have actually increased the fuel economy of those vehicles by about 5 to 10 miles per hour just by the way that I drive. Now, that compensated that because I had a teenager growing up, a teenage son. So with him getting the 4 to 10 miles per gallon, I had to get the 25 to 30 miles per gallon. And I'm sure you all understand that because we drive differently now that we've gotten older. Another principle that helps the fuel economy, which is related to the air pressure, is called Ackerman's principle. Ackerman's principle is when you make a turn, the inside wheel turns half the speed of the outside wheel. And what that does is when you're low on tire pressure, that outside tire that's low, or if it's the in tire that's low, what'll happen is it'll excessively wear out the tire that's doing twice the speed when you make the turn. So if you're down to 25 pounds of pressure, when you make that turn, essentially that tire is laying sideways, spinning at twice the speed of the inside tire. That's where you get most of your wear. So it's very critical to make sure that you've got proper air pressure so that your tire is wearing on its crown where it should, and it's rolls smoother. And a perfect example is when you were a kid and you were riding your bike and your dad said, hey, your tire, let me put some air pressure in that tire. And then you got on that bike after Dad put the air in the tire and it was like, oh my gosh, it's got like a brand new bike. You got the flexible flyer, it's just fast. So I just want to thank you for being a part of my presentation this week. And I'd like to first introduce Rusty Hager. He's actually Jim Pittman's brother-in-law. I've done work for him in the past, and a perfect example of the B&I concept is by referral. So first, Rusty Hager.
Woo! I'm Rusty, Jim's brother-in-law, and I was referred to Desi because my son, we bought him a car and he needed some work. And Jim says, you gotta use my guy Desi, he's the best on the planet. I'm like, all right, fine, no problem. And so I get Desi, and he comes, gets the car, and he says, okay. And he says, Rusty, I'm going to take a look at it. I'll let you know in a couple hours, or I think it was less than an hour that he had it. He knew everything that was wrong with it. He prioritized. He says, this has to be fixed to be safe. This has to be fixed later. It's not a big deal right now. It's a little sensor. It's not going to mess anything up. And so I told him, I said, look, it's my son. I want him to be safe on the road. And whatever you need to do, fix it, and let me know. So he took it back after he diagnosed it, and he fixed it. And it runs perfectly. He says, Rusty, I trust my own son in this car. I have he says, I know what's going on. And so he fixed it perfect. He came in, picked it up, dropped it off. I just had to give him the keys when he came. I didn't even give him the keys, left it in the car. So it was perfect. And then the cool part about Desi, and what the man just operates with such integrity and class. I asked him, I said, Desi, I'm like, there's something going on with my own car, not my son's car that he already fixed, but my car. I said, hey, something's wrong with my air, it's not blowing really hard. And he takes a look at it, within 30 seconds, he's like, oh, he had the cabin filter out. He says, oh, you need a new one of these. I'm like, oh, well, I mean, we didn't even know I was doing it. He just took it out and says, oh, this is what you need. And then it's blowing all hard, and we fixed it, and it was lickety split, there was no problem. And I'm like, let me pay you. He's like, no, it's totally fine. So, I mean, he fixed my car, which I was ready to pay hundreds of dollars to fix my air conditioning, so it blew hard. And he fixed it within 35 seconds and didn't charge me a penny for it. So I can't say enough good things about Desi, and all my friends that need anything done wrong with their cars, I can say, Desi's the man. He knows everything about cars, inside and out. He's going to fix it. So that's my thing on Desi. I think he's spectacular. I think everyone should use him.
Now I'm going to introduce a friend of mine. I hadn't seen her for quite a few years, and I reconnected with her at a reunion. Her name is Joanne Mascalero. Mascalero.
So that was a very long time ago that we went to high school and grade school together. We won't say what year, but anyway, my mom's 83 years old, and my dad passed away 11 years ago, and he took care of all the car stuff. So she is kind of clueless when it comes to cars, and she has a very old car that she does not want to part with because she's very set in her ways. And so she's taken to a couple places, and they basically rip her off because she's old and she's a woman. So I was talking to Desi about it one day, and she was complaining because she comes to me for everything because my brother lives in California, and I don't know anything about cars either. So I've been talking to Desi. He's like, well, let me just come take a look at it and see, and tell her what's wrong with it. Well, as he told her, it's old and there's going to be problems, but she insists on fixing it and driving it. So I think Desi made her feel really comfortable, though, about the situation, and because she had a billion questions, and it's always good for her to trust someone. And with Desi, she totally trusts him because I know him, and also it puts my mind at ease because I work at a school and I can't just run off and help her. She's stranded somewhere or whatever. But the good thing about Desi too is that he comes to her, and so that's a big stress relief to her because she always worries about how am I going to get there, how am I going to get back, and coordinate all that. So his services to her have been invaluable because she trusts him, and she knows she can call him at any time, or I can call him and say, hey, our car's doing this, what do you think? And he'll be honest with her and not rip her off.
And my next actually customer, I feel like all of my customers that I have, they're like family. Her name is Maureen Bowen.
Well, I had Desi for 2 years. My daughter and son-in-law had gotten him referred from somebody else, and it has been a blessing. Not only the first year when he was helping both my husband and I in 2 cars and so on, but my husband died a year ago, and he has been such a blessing because I don't know anything about cars. And we've gotten ripped off a couple times, and knowing that I'm walking into some place where there's men and they could tell me anything is wrong. So it has been such a delight to have somebody that is a good man and an honest man. He will never ever take advantage of you. He has come to my driveway, he has taken my car, if that's what we need. I leave the key and he knows where it is. And just to give you one short incident, I'm on the freeway and I realize there's something terribly wrong with this car. It was my husband's car, but he had already died. And what was happening was the serpentine belt was splitting, and I had no power by the time I got into this gas station and somehow got to the curb up by the front of their store. So I called Dad. I'm way down near Kristen. And I said, shall I have AAA tow it to the house? And he said, stay right where you are because I have another client. I'm on my way to Gilbert. He came, told me to stay there. He picked up a belt. Got the belt on, and then followed me part way back so that he was sure that I was okay. This is the kind of referral that I could do for anybody, and I will. And my neighbors are just amazed when they see him out in my driveway fixing something. And he's always honest, he never overcharges. And I just thank you. And I would refer him to him.
So the B&I referral concept, it really has been working for me. Maureen Bohall, do you remember Ron Cabbage? He was in our group for quite a while. Ron referred Maureen's daughter to me, and then as a result of that referral, I met Maureen 2 years ago. And Rusty, referral from Jim Pittman. It works, and I don't want to say anything else because what they just said is priceless, and I would like to thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. I'm Desi Barela with Synergy Mobile Auto Repair. Thank you very much.
Wow, very, very good.